Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I've always been a little bit of a skeptic when it comes to the clothing brand DISSH. Even though their clothes look nice on these very stylish and minimal influencers, I've always assumed that the quality will be not so great. So today I wanted to do an in-depth and unsponsored review, sharing with you what their clothes are actually like. I'll point out to you the pieces I think are pretty decent, and then also the pieces that I just think are not worth the money at all. If you're watching today's video, you're considering the brand, or if you're just looking for some outfit inspo, I hope you guys enjoy this video. The reason I wanted to do a DISSH review is because they're an Australian brand, so very accessible for me, but I also saw these skorts that they do and it got me intrigued. This is the Brooklyn skort in white, and this is one of the pieces that I was most excited to try because it is a very mini skort. So it looks like a mini skirt, but you've got the safety shorts on the inside. This just makes it so much easier to wear for my day-to-day, and I don't have to fuss with it throughout the day. We've got the belt loops at the front, so you can style this in a few different ways, and I think it does look good without the belt, but also looks nice with the belt. The front pockets are faux pockets, and I just think that this is the most beautiful, flattering silhouette. I'm starting off with one of my favorite pieces from them, so I do love most things about this skort. The thing that I don't love is the fabric. It looks like a cotton twill material, but there is a good amount of synthetic in here, and I just wish that the fabric composition was a bit nicer. Not all synthetics are made of the same quality. This one does feel nice, I'll give them that, but I still wish it wasn't. This is technically a dry clean only piece, but I do usually delicately hand wash these because I very rarely send things to dry cleaner, and it's usually outerwear or event wear. I'm wearing a size AU8 for this skort, so usually I'm in between Australian AU6 and 8 and I sized up. And for reference, for US sizing, I'm usually a 0 to 2, so I'm one size down for US. I'll put all of my sizing information in the description box to clarify everything, and I will also be linking to everything down below as well if there is anything you wanted to check out or reference. Something I have to address is DISSH pricing. So that skort is 129 Australian dollars, but it's also 129 US dollars. This means that if you're outside of Australia, it's a third more expensive, and I think that this price is basically to cover the free shipping or the discounted shipping that they offer. I wanted to mention this just to clarify on pricing because as an Australian, I think their pricing is decent and in line with competitors, but I guess if you're ordering outside, then it starts to get a little bit expensive. For the next piece, we've got the Issy Smoke skort. So this color is in between a grey and a brown. This one also has the safety shorts on the inside. It's got a little bit more volume on the skirt this time round. This comes from the subtle pleats at the front, and then this one also has really nice pockets. The other one didn't have pockets, this one does, and I think it's because of the shape of the skirt. Since it's got those pleats at the front, I feel like the pocket doesn't really add much more volume to it, whereas for the other skirt, it was so slim fitting that pockets would have made it feel a bit bulky. Comparing these skirts together, I think that the fabric is very similar. To be honest, they're both not my favorite. This one has a little bit less synthetic, but still 50%. And then both designs I do really like, but I have a slight preference for the other one. This one is a bit more comfortable in my opinion though, because you've got a little bit more fabric and room, and it's not as fitted as the other style. Ultimately, for both of these skorts, I just love the design that they do. I think it's so flattering. And skorts are one of those things where it's surprisingly hard to come across. So I'm happy I found these, but the fabric definitely is very, very average and nothing special at all. Before I get carried away, this review is very mixed. There's not a single piece in today's video that's absolutely perfect or worth a crazy amount of hype. Some are pretty good, most are average, and ultimately, I think they're just basics. If you like something and purchase it, it's probably not a bad choice, but there are also definitely lots of alternatives out there. So keep that in mind as we go throughout today's video. This here is the trouser, and it's in the silver stripe. This is the kind of quality that I was expecting from DISSH. And sadly, this one just did not exceed my expectation at all. Just looking at it and feeling it in my hand, it feels very similar to what you'll expect at H&M, Zara, but obviously this is much more expensive. And then my little test is that I always like to flip trousers around so I can take a look at the construction and how neat and well done that is. This one is pretty messy, and again, very similar to what you'll expect H&M, Zara. The moment you go a little bit more high end, comparison to Arquette or COS, the interior is so much neater. A lot of things are encased, and they're just a lot more clean in the way it's finished. I mean, honestly, no one's going to be looking at the inside of their trousers, but it's one of those things that I think indicates quality of construction, and this one is very, very, very average. These trousers are obviously very long on me, but this can easily be fixed by shortening. But even then, I do think it's a pretty generic fit that you can find at a lot of places. Something that comes to mind is the Everlane way-high trousers. Those are 100 times better in quality compared to these pants. So it just doesn't seem like a good buy because there are so many options out there that just do this pant much better. When it comes to DISSH clothing, I feel like they do well at elevated basic pieces, whereas when something is really quite simple, then I will usually give it a skip because the quality construction is not amazing. So something else that you might care about is that because this is a stripe, what you ideally want is for the pattern to be matched so the stripes look like they continue. So from the waistband to the pants, in the center of the pant, the print matching hasn't been that great. So it does make it look a little messier as well. This beautiful dress is the Eleanor Buttermilk dress. And I think of all the pieces I'm trying on, this is one of the more special ones. I really like high contrast in my pieces, but I love that they're using a buttermilk off-white shade that just feels a bit softer and more gentle. There is something about this short bodice that reminds me of a Regency dress where they had the very high waistline. I kind of love that, but obviously this is a much more modern spin. We've got a lower back design, and then because it's black on the top, it does give me a good amount of coverage. So I think going braless would be fine for me in this dress. 100% linen with a very light rayon lining. This is one of my favorite pieces in today's video. I went for my usual size, which is an AU6. I would say if you have a larger chest, then size up for this dress, but otherwise it fits true to size. This one that I'm wearing is the Bloom vest, and I'm wearing it in a AU6, my usual size, and it fits a little bit roomy, slightly oversized on me. So this is made from 100% cotton, and I do really like the buttons as well as the pattern of the knit. Because it's got the buttons, you can also wear this, I think, in a few different ways. Obviously, as it is in summer, and then maybe in the transitional season, you can also do some layering with this as well. This cotton is a little bit more structured. It's not the softest, to be honest. Like, it's very comfortable on my skin, but when you rub your hand against it, it feels almost a little bit exfoliating, and it's definitely got some slightly rough texture to it. I do enjoy wearing this one, and because it's cotton, it'll wash really easily and just be a very easy summer piece. I've got a couple of the middle buttons done up, so you can obviously do it all up and maybe tuck it into a pencil skirt for a casual office, or you can wear it very beachy casually as well. The trousers that I'm wearing, which you basically can't see in frame right now, these are the Tali pants. This one I've been wearing a little bit even in the Australian winter because there are still days like today where it's very mild. These trousers are made from a Cupro blend, and I really love this fabrication for summer. This fabric is very drapey. I think it has a really beautiful movement to it, which is why I love wearing it. And it's also very breathable, lightweight. This pant has a lining, but the lining is also very nice in my opinion, where it's very light to match with the style of pants. Nothing in the world I hate more than heavy lining with light pants. This is very lightweight. So if you're wondering why these pants look like they fit me really well, I've had them shortened already. I took exactly 10 centimeters off. I told my tailor 10 centimeters, I measured it at home, and they're exactly the length I wanted. They're a wide pant, I don't want them dragging on the floor. I want to be able to wear them with flats as well as heels. So this is just the most practical, versatile length that I will actually wear. With this fabric throughout the day, I do notice some wrinkling. Nothing major like linen, but I might get a few lines, across the pants because it is a very light fabric and it does have some creasing. Not excessive in my opinion, but some. I wore this pant yesterday, so I'm just looking at it now, and yeah, some creases, but not too bad. A comment I will make about these pants is that it's got contrast stitching on the pants. So black contrast stitching running down the pants and then also at the waist and hem. So I think that when contrast stitching is used, I feel like I can tell the quality of a piece. So with this contrast stitching, to be honest, I think it's not as neat as it could be. I think that some areas you can definitely see it's not perfectly straight. Some areas it's a little bit jagged looking, and ultimately I just think it's not as nicely done as it could have been. This is the Levi cardigan that I'm wearing, and I'll keep this one very short. This one is made up of predominantly nylon, and even as I'm wearing it right now, I feel very hot. It's winter, it is a sunny day, but I'm almost overheating in this, even though it's a thin sweater. So I'm not a huge fan of nylon knitwear, and that pretty much already breaks the deal for me. I will say that this feels a lot nicer than I was expecting it to feel like. It does seem quite durable and like it will last decently well, but I just don't find it to be the most comfortable. Wool has all these amazing properties, like being insulating and keeping you cool when it's hot, and then keeping you warm when it's cold. Not to mention that it is more resistant to odor, it tends to have some self-cleaning properties, it is also more durable than other fabrics. But truly, for a staple cardigan that you're gonna wear for years to come, I would just prefer getting something in a slightly better material, either in wool or in cotton, or in some kind of blend. There are a lot more tops coming up, so I'm gonna try them on as I'm speaking about them. So first up, we've got this boucle 100% cotton vest. So this vest is actually a lot softer than the last one I showed. It's got this really beautiful fabric, and I always love materials where it's able to bring that texture, and I think that the yarn used creates a really interesting fabric. In the up close shots, you'll see how beautiful the material is. I feel like I'm not wearing the right bra for this, and it is a little bit low, but I do love the little black buttons to add a contrast to the white. I think that this top goes really well with the DISSH aesthetic. So to go along with that, on the bottom half, I'm wearing the Eva linen skort. This is very similar to the two I showed you earlier, but this one is made from linen. So it's a much nicer fabric, it works really well for summer, and it's also much lighter than the other two, which is perfect for summer and warmer weather. Of the skorts, this is the one that I would recommend the most because in a light color, it is so easy to get something on it. And with linen, it's so much easier to care for. I would throw this into the machine and I feel like it's a much more low maintenance fabric. With the safety shorts inside, obviously you've got 2 layers. So I'm wearing nude underwear and you really cannot see it at all. So the linen's not too sheer. This is probably one of my favorite pieces from DISSH. This is the DISSH Sophie dress, and first thing I have to say about this is that you want to size up for this dress. I'm a very true size 6 when it comes to my tops, and the size 6 on this one is very tight, very tight, and I'm actually struggling to get it done at the back. The fabric on the bodice has a little bit of stretch, nothing crazy, just a little bit of give. The bottom of the dress is made from a different fabric, and I think this combination looks really nice. The bottom of this dress is 100% cotton, and the top is a rayon blend. I actually really like the material of this dress. It does feel a lot nicer quality than some of their other pieces. So the cotton is a really good weight, and it feels quite smooth and nice. And then this rayon material is very soft, and the 5% elastane I think just allows it to hug the body really well. So obviously my one is a bit small, but I think that stretch will make it the most flattering. This is the kind of dress where I would live in it in the summer. I think for any kind of nicer lunch or dinner or event, I would love to wear this dress. It feels very elegant and you can definitely style it in so many ways. I would have loved to see pockets on this dress. It's so easily done because of the volume of the skirt. I'm not keeping this dress because I can barely zip it up at the back, but I do think that the quality of this one has actually surprised me a little because I really thought it was going to be quite flimsy and cheap feeling. Something else is that I do have pasties on. The material here is not opaque. If you didn't wear a bra, you'll definitely be able to see the outline of everything. So you need a strapless or pasties when you're wearing this dress. I'm wearing this off-shoulder knit now, and this one is called Carry. This is another cotton knit, but this one does have some nylon blended in. I think that an off-shoulder design is so beautiful, and it's truly one of my favorite cuts ever. The material of this top is decently comfortable, but similar to the other vest top I talked about earlier, it does have a certain roughness to it. So if you have a lot of skin sensitivity and if you find linen uncomfortable, then this actually feels quite similar to that. That's probably my best comparison. It's a cotton nylon, but it almost feels a bit like linen and has a certain roughness to it. I do still find it very comfortable on, but I wanted to point that out in case you have sensitive skin. I find this off-shoulder design very elegant, and anytime I say an off-shoulder design, I think of Anna Karenina with Keira Knightley, and that is forever, I think, an inspo in my head. This one I think is a keeper for me because I love the cut. Finally, we can talk about some linen pieces, and I've got on this linen vest and pant combination. There are a couple of fit issues on myself. I went for my smaller size with the pants, and they are definitely a bit small around the hip area. I thought because it was a wide leg style with the elastic, I could go down, but no, definitely go up for this one as well. The length of this one is a bit more reasonable. I still need to get it tailored, but I think not as much as I would have needed for the other pants. I find them a little bit too wide for my liking. So this is not a pant that really I am very drawn to. It is decent if you like the silhouette, but I like something where it's wide-legged but not so dramatic. It feels a little bit overwhelming on my height and my frame, so I don't think this is the one for me. I find the linen thickness pretty reasonable, and I also find that the linen is not too stretchy and it feels like a decent quality. The thing I'll say here is that they have lined this linen trouser, which a lot of brands won't do. So for the white, I don't mind it lined because I think that it just gives a bit more opacity, but it just means that the linen, I guess, is not as thick as it could be, because if they had just gone a little bit thicker, then maybe it wouldn't really even need the lining. And then for the vest, you know, similar quality, it's actually very nice. It is also lined, which I think works for a piece like this. But honestly, it's just a silhouette. I don't like it on me. I don't like these vests. I think that it brings too much weight to the bottom half of my body. This is exactly the kind of thing that as a petite girl, I really struggle to wear because it just draws the eye downwards. And I think it really overwhelms me because there is so much interest on the bottom half as opposed to the top half. There are ways I could try and balance it out, but I'm really just not drawn to it enough to justify keeping it for myself. One of their most popular pieces is this stripy long sleeve, and I honestly was so skeptical. How special could this be? Once I'm wearing it now, I actually do like it, and I think it's a nice elevated piece. There is something about this neckline, you know, with the stripes, with that little logo on the center. Everything is still quite subtle, but I do feel like it looks a bit more elevated than maybe just my typical striped tee. The seam of the shoulder is a little bit oversized, but it's also not a drop shoulder. And I think it creates a nice, relaxed shape. Sometimes with pieces like this, it's really hard to justify because there are so many brands doing similar things for much less. But if they manage to get the details right, then it is a piece that will reach for far more than those alternatives. And I feel like this one has kind of hit that mark. The material of this is very soft. It actually feels very nice. It's got a bit of stretch to it, so it's not like those bread and tees that feel very structured and stiff. I will draw attention to this though. See how they haven't matched the pattern that well? It's things like this that I just wish they did a bit better. If you've tried anything from DISSH, let me know in the comments down below how you got along with the piece. Honestly, it's not my favorite brand, but there are a couple of nice things. For example, the linen skorts. I like this top, and I do ultimately think some of the dresses are really beautiful too. If you like links or sizing to anything, do check out the description box down below. I'll have everything linked over there. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you next one. Bye.